Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video we're going to be making some simple watercolour cards. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so we're going to have some fun with some watercolours today. I don't know why the last couple of days, weeks, I felt like playing with some of the stuff that I've got in here. So I've got myself a piece of watercolour paper. It's probably not very good watercolour paper. To a certain extent, I don't mind. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. The feature of this one's going to be this cute little stamp that I got from Uniquely Creative. I'm going to do a watercolour background, then we're going to stamp this down on the top, and that's going to be basically the whole card. So what I'm going to do is grab, these are my Uniquely Creative stitched rectangles. And I'm just finding which one I want to use here. I think I want to go slightly bigger because I want to be able to put a sentiment. I think I might use my honeybee ones for that. So what I'm going to do is just using my lead pencil, I'm giving myself a rough little area. This is just so I know where I need to watercolour, because I want to do a couple of different colours, because I don't want to just do one. Just really rough around the outside. It doesn't even need to be close to perfect because it's not going to be. And then I'm grabbing, I may have to use a couple of different pieces of white paper here. Grab that back in again. I'm going to do, I want to control this a little bit. So watercolours are a little bit like splatter. They're very hard to control. But I did see a video on YouTube, and I can't quite remember who it was. I think it was Nicole Spohr, but don't quote me on it. I know Lawn Fawn did one as well, where they used paper as a bit of a mask to kind of help control the watercolour. So I'm going to try that and see if it works. So this is the inside of the rectangle. So I'm going to do is just cut a little hole in here, and I'm just going to cut out a rough kind of shape. So I don't mind if it's a bit not straight, I don't mind if it's wonky or funny or whatever, but it's just going to help control the watercolour just a little bit. That's the plan anyway. So I'm just keeping inside that square, rectangle, sorry, not square. I made a bit of a boo-boo on the side here, so I'll just fix that up. And that's going to be like our little masked area. So I'm going to grab myself a little bit of glue tape. I actually kind of like that shape better, so I'm going to flip it over. This is just my normal glue tape, so it's removable for a certain amount of time. So I'm just put a little bit there just to tack it down, and then we're going to watercolour over the top. So the thing I learnt when I went away with my friends a couple of weeks ago was that you should make all your colours up first, because that way you can build, like get your colours right and then build. So this is my, I think it's called Mungyo, I know I pronounce it wrong all the time, I think we'll go Mungyo watercolour palette. Any watercolours will do. If you don't have watercolours, you can use Distress Oxide. It's a whatever kind of thing. I'm going to do 3, so I'm going to do one as a blue to green. I think we'll do blue to green. So I'm just putting some water all over this. And then I'm just grabbing a slightly smaller brush to pick it all up. This is a paintbrush set. I think I got this from Officeworks. Any paintbrushes will be fine. You don't need anything fancy for this. I'm picking up my blue. I'm going to put this into my little palette. And then I can kind of get how much I need. I don't know how much I need. But then I can also water it down if I need to. So this is just a little pipette. I think I got it off eBay in the end. Yeah, I like that, but maybe just a little bit of darkness. I'm making a mess. Ooh, I just added a little bit of purple. That actually looks really cool. So I'm going to do a blue to green. I think I'll do a blue to green. I like to stick some water in the middle, and that becomes my cleaner, so that I can keep the rest of it sort of clean-ish. Go a deep green. have never, I don't know why I have never done a swatch for this palette. I need to do it. It's on the list of things to do. I'm actually quite happy with that. I think those two together will look nice. Okay, and then I'm going to do a pink and purple, and then I'm going to do a teal to yellow. So we'll do this sort of pinky, purpley kind of thing. So again, putting that into my little well. I think that pink's a little bit bright. So I'm just going to add just a tinsy little bit. It's actually a sort of a reddy colour. Oh yeah, that's better. Just toned it down. Oh bugger. Put it in the clean water. Oh well. And then the other one was going to be yellow and teal. This teal up here, which I'm going to add a little bit of green to, I think. Just to pull it back a little. Now it looks too much like that green. It still looks like a darker green than teal. Hold on, let's see if we can add. It's sort of the lightest blue I've got. We'll go with that. Righto, so there's all my colours all made up. Now the way that I'm going to do this, I want it to be a wet wash, so I'm making this wet. So it's just I was going to say the clean water, the slightly dirty water. Just going all across that. Trying to make it as even a coverage as I can. And then, I don't know why, but I like to use a slightly bigger brush for this bit. So I'm going to do the blue and the green first. I'm going to start with the green and come down into the blue. And then we're just going to sort of wash over the top. I don't know if this paper thing's going to work. If it doesn't, that's fine, but I wanted to try and see. So I'm just bringing the colour down. And then I'm going to bring in the blue at the bottom. I'm not going to change the brush, not going to clean the brush because I don't mind the colour sort of bleeding together. It's going to bleed together in the middle anyway. Okay. And then pull in that green and pull it down. I don't want to mix too much. I kind of like the separation. I just want it to be a little bit sort of textury. We'll see how that goes. So again, because I want to sort of move along, I'm just going to hit it with the heat tool. Charlotte's right outside my door. It's sort of protected it in the way I wanted it to. There's a little bit of a dribble, but I think that's okay. Just going to grab a little bit of paper towel and just pick up just a little bit of that really big wet puddle and then just finish drying it off. So it's probably 90% dry. I'll just let it finish drying naturally. I'm not freaking out about the fact that some of that glue has got stuck there because it'll get trimmed down anyway, so it'll be fine. I think the next two I might just do without the paper. Not that it didn't work, because it did, but I think I can get just as much amount of control just doing it this way. So we'll see. So there's my water. This time we're going to go dark to light, so we'll bring in this purpley colour. Pink from the bottom. I don't think there's really enough difference in the colour there, but anyway. That's what I'm actually going to do in a second. Oh, no, there we go. That's got enough difference. I was going to say I'll get just an actual bit of the... Actually, let's do it anyway. The original colour, that really dark purpley kind of thing. Just adding it a little bit along the top and fading it down because it's just going to give me a little bit more of that brightness. Okay, I like that. And that one, I prefer the pink to the green, if I'm being honest. I like the shape of it, not the colour of it. I'll go with the colour too. But anyway, so I'm going to do the last one the exact same way. This one's going to be that teal to yellow. So just squash that water on there. Whoops, wrong brush. I knew I was going to do that. Okay, I'm happy with that. These ones are obviously going to be a little bit different to this one. This one's going to look a little bit more controlled. So I'm going to go ahead and heat dry all of these so that they're all ready and cut them out, and then I'll be back and we'll do the next. Oh, yeah. No, we'll do the stamping first and then we'll cut them out. So I'll be back and we'll do the stamping. So for the stamp, we're going to use that little pretty posy one. I don't think that's what it's actually called, but the posy stamp from Uniquely Creative. No, I was going to use this stamp block, but it's not quite big enough. Which means I'm moving up to my big one. So what we're going to do is just stamp this sort of along the top bit, and then we can add in a sentiment underneath afterwards. So I'm using my Onyx Black ink for this one because I want it to be really, really black, and because I'm not doing any kind of colouring from this point onwards, you can use this one. It's so good for sentiments and things like this. So, whoops. Only downside, obviously, to using an acrylic block instead of using a Misty is that you run the risk of not getting a great first impression. So my advice is put it in the spot you want it, and then give it some nice pressure. These aren't photopolymer, these are only acrylic stamps, this one. So you do need to temper your expectations just a little bit. I do find Uniquely Creative ones are pretty good though, but you just need to add that nice even pressure. How good's that? That's going to look so pretty. I got a little bit of ink. That's alright, I'm hoping when I cut it off it'll be fine. So I'm just going to repeat that. The problem with these two is that I went a bit wider than I wanted to, but because the die is going to sort of cut it in, I'm hoping that it'll be okay. And same thing here though, there's a little bit of ink on the bottom. We're going to cover that up with a sentiment anyway, so I'm not freaking out. Alright, last one. Just going to give this a little bit of a wipe before I stamp it down, just so I can try and eliminate a little bit of that transfer. And I've actually just rotated this one round so it's a little bit of a different angle, just for something different. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, cool. So there's our little, I guess, panels, for want of a better word. So I'm going to come in then with the die. I'm just going to split this up and cut these down, and then we'll come back and work out what we're going to do for the sentiment. Okay, so I actually played with the angle a little bit of that one. I didn't have it the straight sort of colour, I kind of moved it across. I like that, I do. Alright, so then for the sentiments, we're going to grab out that honeybee stamp set that I got from Dawn Lewis. I want to use the dies, I think. I just want to see what they look like more than anything else. So I'm going to have, one's going to be a hello. So I've got the little, this is the hello. You can tell I haven't put them away yet. So I think that'll look really pretty if I cut that in black. Sit that up, maybe cut it twice or 3 times. And then have it on either a white shadow or a vellum shadow. So this is my little trick. It's not really my trick, but it's a little suggestion if you're going to do something like this with the really skinny kind of thing. So I just I'll do this first and then I'll show you sort of why we do this. So I'm grabbing, this is some double-sided adhesive paper. This is just from Express It, but you can get it from lots and lots and lots of different brands. So what I'm going to do is cut this down. So this is thick paper, I think it's 125 GSM, so that's fine. There you go. So I'm going to put this down onto here first. And then we're going to cut through. I'm just going to trim this so I don't get in the wrong spot. So I'm going to cut this with the double-sided paper, like the double-sided adhesive. So when we go to stick it together, I don't have to worry about that flimsy kind of thing not sticking together. So go straight through. You'll see in a minute it's going to be pretty perfect, I hope. Being very careful with this tape. I'm very nervous that it's going to cut through. Not cut through, going to tear my paper. Tweezers always help. So I'll pop this out. And I'll hold it up in a second against something white so you can sort of see how lovely and detailed this is. So I'm just popping out the middles. Hasn't done a great job of cutting through that. There we go. I just needed to, oh yes I do, I just need to pull it off. Maybe should have sent that through twice. That's okay. I learned for next time. So just popping out the in bits. And if I cut this 3 times, that'll give me the dimension that I want. And I don't have to worry about accidentally tearing this. So you sort of see that. Oh, how lovely is that? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out another 2 times, and then I'm going to cut the shadow out of white, maybe? Haven't decided. I'll cut the shadow out too, and we'll build this first one up. Alright, so I cut my shadow out of this is Kaisercraft, I think it's called holographic sparkle paper. I'll link it down below either way. I just thought it needed a little bit of something. So we'll have a look. It may not need anything. It may be a bit much, but we'll give it a shot. Oh, that picks up the green so beautifully. Okay, no, that's staying. Alright, so we're going to stick the hello down. Now when I was, number 1, use tweezers. Number 2, when I was doing that, the backing paper came off the die cut. That's fine. Whoops. Until you go and rip it. Okay, right, I'm going to do another one. I'll do it afterwards. I'll put these first 2 down and then I'll come back for that. Thankfully I still have, no I don't, but I can cut another one, it's fine. So I'll go with this one. I just want to lay the first one down and then you'll be able to see when I do the next one. So just very carefully taking the backing paper off. The less you can get your hands stuck in it, the better. And then straight down onto this backing paper. You might only need 2. You might only need 2. Okay. That's really pretty. It may only need 2, so we might be okay here. Because this is thick paper. It's not cardstock. It's not. I don't want that much dimension to it though. I want just enough. So do the same thing. Line it up and just push it down onto there gently. This adhesive will give you a bit of time. It won't glue straight away. It won't stick straight away. It'll give you a little bit of time to be able to wiggle it around. So you can sort of just nudge it into place. But I do highly recommend tweezers here. This is so pretty. Okay. I mean, come on. That just picks up that green so beautifully. Alright, loving. So then we're just going to put a little bit of glue tape on the back. And I can mount this. Oh, actually, hold on. Before I stick it down, I want to put this on just a card base, but I want it to have a little black mat around the outside. So we'll stick this down first. So I'm just using the edges of the paper because I know that these are straight. Just making it as even as I can. Watercolour paper will always warp a little bit, so you just do what you can. My trimmer at the moment is being a bit picky. It needs to be cleaned, I think. gets to the bottom here and it gets a little bit crunchy. So a little black mat around the outside. Put that hello in. I'm actually going to just pull it down a little bit, but I do want it to be offset. I don't want it to sit straight on the top. And there's our first little card front. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other ones. I think one I'll do a thanks, and the other one I might do a hugs, and we'll do sending hugs. I just think it's really cute. I'll do the exact same thing with the sentiments. I'm just going to do 2 of each. So I'll just trim that off. Use that. Actually, I'm going to use this bit of paper. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. So I just want to show you something really quickly. So when I was cutting that, when I was pulling it up, the die actually held on to the die cut. So grab that little bit of release paper that you just used, pull it out of the die and just stick it down onto the release paper. That way you don't have to worry about A, it getting stuck somewhere, B, getting hurt, and you don't have to stress about the fact that you haven't already got your other bit ready. And that'll sit there quite happily for a little bit. In fact, it's going to fall off and show me up, but it'll, if you put it off to the side, it'll at least stay out of the way. But yeah, the release paper just sort of stuck. I was sort of hoping it wouldn't do it for the second one, but it looks like it has. See if I can push it out, holding the release paper in. No, I'm not going to do it. It's alright. New dies, they sometimes take a little while to kind of work themselves out, and that's okay. So I'm just being very careful not to tear that. And I can go ahead and cut the other one out. Whoops. Okay, so I've got my 2 little panels here. The only one I want to, I'm not worried about this one. I just want to see if there's anything I can do about these marks at the top. So I'm just grabbing my sand eraser. I'm also grabbing my embossing powder spoon because I'm going to need that in a sec as well. I don't need to make it go away. I'm just wondering if I can make it a little bit less obvious. And I don't think I can, but that's alright. I don't know, I see people use sand erasers and they seem to work, and I use them and I get nothing. But anyway, the good thing is that's going to hide the bottom bit at least. So I'm going to I need to do 2 little sentiment strips. So the cool thing about this stamp set is it comes with all of these little bits. So I'm going to stamp them. I'm going to do white heat emboss on black paper, same paper I just used. Come on. Oh, I was going to say it doesn't want to come out. So I'm going to have a thanks. I'm going to do thanks for everything, and then I'm going to do sending you hugs. And sending you just happens to be right in the middle, so that's alright. So I'm going to put them both on the same block, and I'm going to stamp them at the same time, but I'm going to then cut them out using different sentiment strips. This is also the first time I'm going to use my brand new rabbit hole embossing tool. I knew the word was coming, it was just stuck. So I'll grab the embossing ink. I should have done this in the middle, not on the end, but anyway, done now. And it doesn't matter that these 2 aren't straight because I'm going to use some sentiment strip dies to cut them out, so it'll be fine. I'll just get some embossing powder. So this is my Brutus Monroe embossing powder. so far I'm loving this. I think it does a really good job. And so this is where it didn't matter if it wasn't straight, because I can make it straight using this. Before I do that, I'm just going to grab the same paper towel I was using before, just giving it a bit of a swish just to get rid of that excess powder so it goes back to being that nice black. And we'll line this up, and then everything might be just a little bit bigger. And of course you can have this like a whole big strip if you want to. I just like this very small, kind of just a little bit. Alright, now last thing to do here is just to stick these all down. So I've got thanks for everything on this one, so I don't mind that it covers up a little bit of the flowers, or sits a little bit behind the K. I think that looks actually really cool. The vellum actually looks really awesome there. So I'll have it just like that, and then the hugs, we'll have that just sitting there like sending you hugs. And I'm just trying to hide that ink as much as I can. So with the vellum's a little difficult sometimes. What I would suggest would be grab yourself your glue and try and keep your glue for here sort of on the backing of your letters, and that way you won't be able to see it. It's going to be tacked down, I guess, instead of really stuck. But once the glue gets going, it'll keep it all solid. And the thanks and the sending you, I'm just going to mount that down flat. I'm quite happy for it to just sit there because there's some dimension with the other bits. Just making sure that that's straight. Forgot to do my little border of black though, so I'm going to go ahead and do those really quickly, stick the other ones down, and then we will be done. So I've got my 3 cards here. Love them. But what I thought I'd do, just to finish them off, thought I'd chuck a couple of gemstones on there. So I'm just grabbing, where did it go? Cannot find my little triangle tray, so I'm just going to use my watercolor tray here just to put a couple of the gemstones in. And I'm just going to try and just add in just 3 on each card. I don't mind if they're the big ones, the small ones, or the ones in the middle. I'm going to try not to lose too many of them on the ground. I am getting a new pickup stick, I just haven't got it yet, and the one I've got has got no stick left on it, so that's why I'm using tweezers. So these are my little black ones from the Trinities, or they, I don't remember if those ones are the Trinity ones or if these ones are the Paper Rose ones. I don't remember. I'll find out though. I'll link it down below for you. But I just thought the little bit of black might just pull it all together. And you could obviously do more. You could do 5 or you could do 7, but the rule is supposed to be that you do odd numbers. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hopefully put these in 3 different spots though, so they don't all look the same. The good thing is once it's got a little bit of glue on it, the tweezers, they'll help pick up some of the the gems. I'm just trying not to use the really big ones because there's some really big ones in here. I'm just trying not to use those ones. Whoops. These beauties actually have a little bit of blue to them. And when you put them down onto the, especially the blue ones, like this one particularly, it picks up just a little bit of that blue. It does too on this green one as well. The pink one for some reason doesn't pick up quite as much blue. It almost comes up purple. So it's just very, oh, I like it. So there we go. 3 little cards, all using the same technique. I don't think they all look different. I think they look really similar, but I like how simple that was. If you wanted to, you could make the cards and you could just leave the sentiments off and send the sentiments. You could use sentiment strips, you could use sentiment die cuts. If you didn't have the sort of the honeybee ones, so many different choices, and unlimited with the watercolors. You could just sit here and play with watercolors for hours. Make up all the different colors and mix it up, and yeah, sometimes simple cards, as much as like this has taken a little while, but these are relatively simple cards. Sometimes simple cards can be a lot of fun. So there we go, that's today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy this little project. If you did, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also catch lots of other card making videos around my channel as well. I'll link the playlist and you can check them out. I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!